Good morning, everyone. This is Claudia and Dottie with Work Truck Solutions. Thank you all so much for being here this morning for our April webinar. We're going to talk about how to throw a successful event for your customers. We actually had Pam Cotton from Joe Cotton Ford, she's the owner over there, submit this topic. So we're very thankful for her and submitting this. It was such a great idea. She's actually in the process of planning her very first commercial event herself. So that's really exciting, and I apologize if you can hear some folks outside. They're having a little celebration out there. So we're going to get started momentarily. I see some folks still logging on. All right. So just a couple housekeeping items while we get started and while people are getting settled in. There is a question box in your control panel. Please feel free to type questions at any time. We'll try and pause and get to them, but we will have a question and answer session towards the end. And here's a little bit of the agenda we're going over, very simple laid out, but we're going to go into deep detail on all of these things. So, of course, to get started, we're going to go over how to plan an event, the actual event execution, how to measure the success of your events, and then the question and answer session, and a couple closing statements and reminders for you. So I still see some people getting on. I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started now. So to start, I actually have a poll question for you. You'll see it on your screen right now. So have you ever thrown an event for your commercial department? I know some of you are larger scale and probably have. Some of you, maybe you're smaller and so you don't really get the budget for it. I've heard it all across the board. Ooh, those are great numbers, though. It looks like a good majority of you have, and those of you who haven't, you have participated in other events. So that's awesome. I'm going to give it a couple more seconds. We almost are at 100%. Yay! Okay. So I'm just going to share those results with you. Yay! Good job, everyone. So you can see here that a lot of you have, so that's awesome. I'm glad that we're going to be going over some things for just, best housekeeping items and things like that. So hopefully you'll all get something out of this. And if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to ask. All right. So Dottie, do you want to give a little bit of background of kind of your experience in events and hospitality at all?
So previous to Work Truck Solutions, I actually worked in the hotel industry and was an event coordinator for a 4-star, 4-diamond hotel. And we worked very closely with the Orange County Performing Arts Theater, and so I worked a lot with some very large groups. Usually my groups were anywhere from 200 to 1,000 at a time, so it took a lot of organization, a lot of crazy hours, and it's just something that I really love doing, kind of hobby in it at this point, so it's just been some fun skill set to bring into Work Truck Solutions.
Awesome. And I as well came with a background in event management. I actually got my degree in hospitality management, which focused on a whole array of things, working for catering companies, throwing big fundraising events, A to Z, you name it. We've both probably got, so many weddings. Oh, man, those brides out there, bless their little hearts. Oh, so much fun, though. So let's just dive right on into it. So to start, let's talk about planning the event. The key here is, what is the event purpose? So, whether that's customer appreciation, which tends to be the core of most events, or, maybe you're releasing a big product. I know that all of you have your OEM events that you go to see all of your new products. It's never a bad idea to maybe put on your own event to release the fact that you maybe ordered some of those new lineups. It's not only going to help you to showcase what you have, but it's also going to draw attention from, your community to say, oh, look, they're the experts here. They have the new stuff. They know what they're talking about. Community-wide events, these are more, you're going to be participating as a vendor. Dottie has some dealerships that participate in local parades, different fundraising things, local fairs. I'm sure that you've all participated or maybe had a booth at your local county fair. Again, you can showcase, your inventory there. I'm sure that the kids would love to climb up on some of those big trucks that you guys have, run through those vans. I know that when I was a kid, I loved doing that. Educational, this is something that is not as common in our industry, which I think it should be much more common. I am absolutely sure all of you have driven down the road and seen that guy with that cargo van completely stuffed to the gills, and you're just thinking, wow, it would be so much easier if they just had one of those upfit packages in it.
Right.
So, you can give short educational items, kind of like these webinars that we put on. It's not necessarily an event that people go to, but it is technically an event because everyone's taking the time to, come, listen, learn something, and hope that they'll get something out of it to benefit their business, maybe, their personal strategies, etc. And then fundraisers. I know you all participate in those, whether it's your entire dealership as a whole or maybe you guys have something close to your heart that you're wanting to, focus on and portray. So you have to know what your purpose is in order to move forward. You also have to know what your goals and outcomes are. So dependent on your purpose, most of those things are self-explanatory.
You have to write all that down, too, ahead of time. So
exactly, yeah.
Like a spreadsheet, not a spreadsheet quite per se, but kind of an outline.
Yeah, definitely. Outlining it, getting input from your team members, because I'm sure that, like we experience here in our everyday life, not one person has the best idea, and not one person is always right. Except for you, AJ. Sorry, just had to do that. But yeah, no, outlining it is such a good way of knowing that, then you can actually see, okay, what are my actual goals and outcomes? Because, of course, just putting out retention, that sounds good, but what do you actually mean by that? How are you actually going to measure the fact that you're retaining customers? Is that knowing they're going to purchase from you, this month? Or, what does that mean to you? Sales, that's something easy to monitor. You guys can ask them, hey, how did you hear about us? Or maybe at your event, you're selling to them or setting up appointments to get them to come in. And then brand recognition. I think that this is something huge that a lot of people forget about.
Long-term.
Yeah, exactly, because, you're so focused on getting sales and keeping these customers close to you, but you have to have your brand recognized in order to bring in new customers. And, brand isn't just your logo. It's not just your image. It has so much to do with, how customers feel about you, how you're portrayed in the community. All of those things make a difference. And it looks like we have a question here, so I'm going to pause really quick. And, are you guys not seeing my screen at this moment? Oh, shoot, I haven't even been showing my screen. I'm so sorry. Give me one moment.
Technical difficulties.
Oh, of course. It wouldn't be a Work Truck Solutions webinar without some sort of technical difficulty, I swear. Okay, now you guys should be able to see my screen. I am so sorry about that.
On the one screen then.
Yes. Okay, I just fixed that. So the last slide you guys missed, it was just this one. Just going through all of those purposes that we just mentioned. So I'm just going to go ahead and skip forward. And Pam, yes, we will be sending out the recording. This is all getting recorded, so we'll send you out a recording of this within the next day. So just keep your eyes out for that. It'll come in your email. Let's see. Sorry about that, you guys. I'm a little thrown off now, so just give me 1 second to get back on board. Okay, so yeah, we're going to go into the goals and outcomes a little bit later when we talk about measuring success. So that'll be towards the end. So I'm not going to focus too heavily on this right now. So the details, like Dottie said, having an outline is so huge. Do you want to talk about some of this? I know that you had to deal with so many huge productions, and I'm sure that you know a little bit more about like budgeting and things like that.
Budget's a big one, picking a hard line and a soft line, where you kind of say, okay, this is my absolute limit of what I will spend on any sort of event. If you're doing kind of the quarterly review or an annually review of what kind of money you guys have to spend and splitting that up per quarter is usually kind of how I looked at amount of spend is here's my big number, let's split that up per quarter and then what that number actually is per month and at least focusing on a monthly event. continuing to keep things top of mind. And events don't have to be such a big hoopla. I mean, they really don't have to be such big, huge things. They could be smaller participations that aren't going to be costly. So maybe you do skip a month and use that extra spend on a bigger event the following month or something along those lines. But knowing exactly where your hard line is, where you don't want to get caught where you didn't take into account some food spend or something along the lines, and then suddenly you're $50 to $100 over what you initially planned. So budget's a big one. Location, I think you and I talked about yesterday, is whether or not you are hosting it yourself at the dealership, or if you're kind of piggybacking off of a different event as a vendor or participant. One of the big ones that I said was popular was, I noticed in my area, I have the Southeast territory, so county fairs are really huge in the local, more rural areas, or even kind of in the South. I don't know really how popular they are elsewhere, because I just don't have that experience. But
California is not as big as in the fair industry
in that area. But for the region that it is, so it's about finding what's really popular within your region and where all the local people are participating. You know, so you have families and local business owners, and it's about putting a presence out there that you are involved in the community. A big portion of commercial business is such a personal relationship, so you want to establish yourself as having that personal relationship, that you care about the small business owners, that you are in tune with what their goals are as their business owners. Same with, they'll be in tune with your goal as a business owner or a business participant as well.
Right, absolutely. And then, you know, going into the idea of having vendors, whether you are a vendor or you have vendors at your event. So let's just use an example of having it at your dealership. If you guys have local distributors or upfitters near you, see if they can come out. Just have them have a table there. That way they can have, you know, some educational materials available for the folks who are attending. You know, they can actually speak to the vehicles right then and there. Not only is it going to help build your relationship stronger, but then it also gives that recognition that, oh, wow, this dealership actually knows what they're doing. They actually have their body manufacturers, their distributors, their upfitters, they're all here right now. Even local companies, you know, maybe partners that you have and you've established for a long time, like maybe you have a catering company that you've been giving refrigerator vans to or cargo vans to for a really long time, and you want to showcase your relationship with them. Have them cater your event. I bet you they would love
that.
Bring
those refrigerator vans.
Exactly. Bring those refrigerator vans and show them in action. You know, all of those different things. A vendor doesn't have to necessarily be someone who sponsors the event. It could just be someone to showcase, you know, your relationship there, help with the educational purposes, all of that good stuff. And then, you know, themes. It's not 100% necessary, but it's always fun to kind of have a theme in mind because that really helps with your planning. It helps with your budget. You know, 4th of July, for example, is a great time to participate in events. So obviously you're going to be dressing up your vehicles in red, white, and blue and, you know, all of that good stuff. So, and that's so, you know, it's such a low cost to be able to consider those things, and it just adds that little detail of touch that makes everyone else feel excited. If you're doing an at-dealer event, you know, maybe make it a carnival theme, get some hay bales and get some, you know, see what you can do with that and have some games available for the families to be able to participate in. Have, you know, carnival foods, so hot dogs, hamburgers. Again, that's such an inexpensive cost, and you just have to take a step back and think, if I was going to attend this event with my family, what would bring me and them to make that decision to spend our Saturday or, you know, even just an hour out of our time to come over here, because everyone's busy and everyone wants to be able to spend that time with their family. But, you know, when you're doing things for business, you also want to be able to fit that in as well. So that's just one thing about vendors. And then tickets, you know, not every event needs a ticket. I understand that you're probably not going to charge for a good majority of customer events, especially if they're at your dealership, but maybe having some raffle prizes to give away. Again, that can kind of tie in with sponsorship, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. Different items like that. And then tickets.
Success measurement.
Yeah, tickets are also a great way to measure success. So some more details, like Dottie had said earlier, a schedule and a timeline. And this is everything, you know, 6 months prior to the event. If it's a really big event, you know, if it's a monthly event, then you're going to have a regular schedule that you follow. You're going to get really good at knowing when to do things. But having a schedule of the day of the event is also so important. A lot of people forget to consider the setup and breakdown times, specifically the breakdown times. That could take an hour, 2 hours? Who's going to be responsible for that? Are you going to be putting people into overtime if they're on an hourly wage? Who's going to be helping you guys out there? Food and beverage, that also is part of the timeline, and part of the budget. That's such a big cost for most events. That's usually where a good majority of the money goes, between the venue and the food. But like I said earlier, you can get people to donate or showcase what they're doing, and that's not only helping them advertise their business, it's showcasing your partnership, it's strengthening your partnership with them, and then it's also helping you out by save a little bit of extra money.
Well, I'm not focusing on doing everything with food and beverage.
Right.
Simplifying things in, and sometimes maybe you just pick one thing. If
Yeah.
you're doing like a major, like a root beer flow day
Yeah.
or something like that, and that's
Absolutely.
the one thing you focus on, rather than doing all the food and all the beverage, and then you kind of get overwhelmed by the amount of cost that takes
Yeah.
on. So just simplifying your thought process when it comes to what is actually needed for events. You can make very successful events without having to spend a ton of money.
Absolutely. And then, food trucks are a huge hit.
Yeah.
Whether you're a partner with them or not, get them to come out. Have a fiesta day where you get a taco truck. Have a day where we have some
Sometimes they'll do that for free because
Yeah.
it's business for them. So
Yeah.
you don't actually have to pay them to come there. You're just saying, hey, I've got to have an event that's going to have a ton of business this way, so I'm just going to help you out.
Exactly.
Come park it over here.
Yep, exactly, exactly. And then giveaways, that kind of ties in with that tickets, whether you're having tickets for people coming in or using those as raffles. It's such a good way for fundraising. If you're just going to give away some raffle tickets so that families can come and win some prizes, I think that's also a great idea. Something else you can do, which is done very often, is collecting business cards is a big giveaway. At the NTEA show, we saw a lot of those Yeti coolers getting given away, but you had to submit your business card or fill out a little form. I didn't win one, but I won a Yeti cup.
You won the Yeti cup.
Yeah, I won a Yeti cup there, which was awesome. But yeah, that's such a great way to not only measure your success because you're collecting those business cards, but you're giving away something which makes, your customers feel extremely special. And then it's something that they actually want and will use. Everyone could use a cooler, everyone could use, different things like that. Maybe have it be, going to something, a gift certificate to somewhere. A lot of people like to golf or,
Usefulness of giveaways. You don't want to pick things that are throwaway items.
Exactly. Yep.
That's a big one. It's better to have less things and more valuable things that people would want to participate in, having, a raffle-ish item so people only pick 2 items and have everybody participate in a raffle, rather than spending a lot of money on the cheaper giveaway items, the stuff that they're going to throw away as soon as they get home. You don't want that to happen.
Exactly. Koozies, as great as they are when you're out camping, they're probably not used that often. T-shirts, a lot of people give away T-shirts as well, unless it's something really, really cool. I kind of doubt that they'll be used more than just kind of working out or things like that. Hats are pretty cool. Those get used pretty often. What else is good? We mentioned the cooler. I would also ask your community, reach out to your community and see if they'd be willing to donate some items. Gift baskets are great. You can make those agnostic for male, female, families, make it a family fun day package where you have like maybe a movie with some popcorn, things like that, things that will actually make them remember, and when they're participating in, whatever they win, they're going to think of you. Because again, that adds the value to it all. Beautiful. All right, and then marketing. This is kind of my little expertise, but there are so many things that you can do for your event to market that. So one thing is sponsorship. Having people sponsor your event is not only going to help reduce your costs, which is the obvious one there, but it's showcasing other local businesses around you, and then it also will help you be able to market your event more, because then they're going to be sending out and inviting people to it because, they're being showcased there. Chances are they're going to be at your event, so then, you guys can talk there, all of that good stuff, and then it's such a huge brand recognition opportunity. Email. Everyone collects email addresses now, I hope, because this is such an easy way to be able to reach out to people. Just send out to everyone in your list, let them know that you guys are having an event, what's going on. Make it simple. You don't need to give them all of the information. Just give them what the event is, what giveaways you're going to be having there, or, what's valuable to them there. If it's an educational event, tell them exactly what the value is that they're going to be getting out of it. So if you're going to help them get organized and save time finding their tools, put that in there. Put, the date and time, obviously. Put the location. If it's something online, then make sure you clearly state out that it is online. So many times we have these webinars, and you would think that the web part of it would be, obvious that it's online, but people have called me before saying, oh my gosh, I didn't know that it was today. Where is it again? And then they just laugh at me when I say, oh, you can just log in from your office or your house or your phone.
Online.
Yep, it's just online. Flyers, I don't usually promote using flyers, but I think that for the purpose of hosting an event, especially if it's at your dealership, putting flyers around local businesses, maybe sending out, postcard invites you can get really creative with and have a lot of fun with, especially if you have a theme going on. Send those to your local businesses. Send those to, your customers that you already have the information on. If you're part of local associations, go there. Let them know that you're having the event. They'll send it out in their email. They'll probably post your flyer and be able to hand out all of those, mailers to people as well. So,
and if you scheduled it ahead of time and you had your couple months planned out, you could give them a schedule ahead of time and
exactly.
give them plenty of time to help you out.
Yeah, exactly. And then social media, you can't forget about that. Everyone goes on there and can see it. Make a Facebook event on your Facebook page. Invite people. Invite everyone who's liked your page to come to it, especially if it's a more broad audience. If not, then, maybe do a targeted ad and target those vocations around you. Change your photos to reflect what's going on. So if your profile picture is of your dealership, that's okay. Maybe just change your banner photo that's at the top there so that people see that you have an event coming up, because they might not see that your event's on the calendar. And then make regular posts and, schedule them out leading up to the event and have a lot of fun with it. Make things like 1 week away, and then put a link to your event or whatever the announcement is. It's really easy to be able to do that. Maybe post a video, especially if you're having a themed event. That would be so much fun, get dressed up, have your team do something silly, because chances are you're going to get way more people on if you post a video compared to if you don't. Do you have anything else you want to add to the planning portion?
I think we covered most of it. I mean, honestly, all of us are here as resources too, so if you had specific questions on like how this would, affect your commercial department versus a dealership as a whole, we're here to be a resource for you. We can help give you inspiration or tell you whether or not that's a terrible idea.
Yep.
So my advice is free as an account person here, so I'm more than happy to include that in any conversation with any of our dealers. I know that my whole dealer success team is the same way.
Absolutely.
We're here to help you guys.
Yep, that's what we're here for. So I have one more poll question for you guys, and I promise I won't be bad and take it down this time. So what kind of events are you most interested in participating in? And you can select all that apply here. Whether you want to throw them, whether you want to, just participate in one.
Ooh, golf tournament. That's one I hear a lot for sure from a lot of dealers.
Yeah, I've actually heard, I think the McGrath group hosts an annual golf tournament. It might even be 2 times a year. I'm not totally sure, but I know that at the final hole, they actually set up a work truck, and then they tee off the work truck.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to do that. I don't even play golf.
I know, me either. I'm supposed to be learning soon, but we'll see.
I do like the community event stuff. Depending on your area, one of my smaller dealers, he's in a smaller area. His most favorite thing is to participate in the sporting events of their local high school. So they bring work trucks out a lot, and a lot of that's personal relationship between the local business owners. So depending on the area you're at, and get creative with it. Mm-hmm. There are all sorts of ways to make sure that your name is the thing that everyone sees,
Yep.
So if that means you're helping out at football games or, whatever,
Absolutely.
have your sales guys go out there and cheer them on.
Yeah, absolutely. And, actually, I called out AJ earlier. He's over at Paradise Chevrolet, and I believe that they are sponsors of the Little League over there, and he was telling me about that, how he actually got a business opportunity out of being the sponsor there, because one of the women, one of the moms of one of the players came up and said, we need a vehicle for our business. Are you the right person to talk to? And and it ended up working out there. I might not have the story completely correct, but it's something along those lines. All right, so you should be able to see my screen now again. Perfect.
So it looks like that was pretty even keel across.
Yeah, I see. It looks like you guys are interested in participating in all of those different things, so I'm so happy to hear that. I'd be very interested to know, what have you guys done? If you want to follow up with me afterwards and just let me know. That way we can even have, some background and give him even better information moving forward. So just a couple more things. We're just going to go over the execution and the measuring success, and then we'll wrap it up with some questions. So this is the fun part, the event execution. Usually whoever is planning everything is a little bit stressed out on this day.
That's okay. Just give them coffee and they'll be fine.
Yeah, coffee, and make sure that they're eating, because that's one thing that most, hosts never get to eat. So make sure that they get some food if you're helping out there. So one thing, Dottie talked about having the outline and having a schedule. A checklist for the day of is huge, and a checklist for each person is even better, because then everyone can kind of know exactly what their focus is, where they should be at what time, what their role is. So is someone going to be checking people in? That would be a great way to be able to measure, okay, so who's all here? How many people participated? Is there going to be someone who is selling raffle tickets like we were saying earlier, and all of these things can apply to different events. Is there going to be someone walking around passing out beverages, or, just checking in with people? All of those different kind of things. Do you have a team that's just there for setup or just there for tear down, or is everyone going to help with all of that at the end? All of those things need to be considered, and those need to be communicated very well with your team. And like I said, in writing is usually the best way to do it. Or maybe if you had like a Facebook group, that'd be a good place to be able to track it so that everyone can just use their phone. Communication, this is something that can make or break an event. Having walkie-talkies is such a good way to be able to, walkie-talkies are huge, because not everyone can be checking their text, or, sometimes it's really rude to be looking at your phone just to make sure that you're answering the right people at the right time if you're talking to customers. So communication is key. I highly recommend walkie-talkies. They are literally the best, most efficient way to be able to talk with people, especially if you have a little headset to be able to put on. That way you're not just blaring out to everyone. But if you don't have that, it's totally fine as well. Just try to keep them low so that not everyone can hear things. And definitely monitor your team if you have some people who like to talk like sailors, because that could be bad. I've had that happen at an event before.
Usually. Yeah. You can find like 4 packs of like the handheld ones rather than like the headset. So if you're looking just for like a cheap set, and they'll last forever. I think I've, like,
especially the battery-powered ones. Like, just replace the batteries every time. That's another thing. Make sure your batteries are charged so that they don't die out in the middle, or have, extra batteries prepared for those moments. That's pretty much, you've already done all the work here, so this is really just the fun part, and these are just a couple of the little things to keep in mind on the day of your event. So measuring success afterwards, I know we've kind of touched on this the whole time throughout, and it really does depend on your event type and the goals that you've already developed in the beginning. But we mentioned earlier, collect business cards, whether you do that at the door, or, maybe have people pre-register even, especially if it's a golf tournament. You're going to have to know, who's participating in this. Otherwise, it's going to be way too difficult to do teams or things like that. Attendance numbers, you can get the tickets, you can have someone signing people in at the door, just getting their name really quick, and what business they're with, or their name and their email. Plenty of people are fine with just going in. If you have a tablet, that could be a really easy way. People are so used to being able to type things in. Or if you just had, what am I trying to say? Clipboard with paper, and just, getting people's names down. It's quick and easy. Send out a survey to people, or have a survey at your event. Just check in with them. See how they're feeling about the event. See how they're feeling about your business. Why are they even there? You could figure that out from a survey.
You can put lots of questions in there about that, how they felt about the event. Did they find that it was helpful?
Mm-hmm.
Feeling out the emotions and the attachment that a lot of people in attendance have can give you some better gains as far as things to change on a future event, or maybe not have hot dogs and instead have burgers, or, if there's some sort of commentary about, allergies or whatnot, it might be good to know.
Yep.
Moving forward.
Absolutely. Great points. And then, Dottie and I were actually talking while we were planning this thing about, how could you actually draw traffic to your, online presence when you're in person with people, because it's so easy to track.
It's 11 o'clock.
Thank you, computer, for letting me know that. It's so easy to be able to track things online, and it's a lot harder to do it in person, especially when so many people are around. But having a social campaign at your event, have people check in that they're there, have people post pictures, and have a giveaway for that. Let's just say everyone posts a picture up there, you choose the top 5, and you send them a gift card for $10 to lunch. Yeah. That's so easy. It's so cost effective. Not only is it going to be drawing attention to your social media pages, which is great, because then it's making people have that FOMO, that fear of missing out, when they're seeing it and they were like, oh man, I wasn't there, so they're probably going to want to come next time. And then it makes people feel special that they're on your Facebook page, and you could use that later on and promote it as a throwback or, anything like that. So it's so easy to do, and it's actually completely hands-off for you, which makes it really nice.
Forcing people to check in on your Facebook page like that allows you to build up your demographic.
Yep.
So if you're looking for likes on your Facebook page, building that page up to get used and better exposure, that's kind of dual purpose. Not only are you getting exposure as a brand, actually triple purpose, so as a brand for your event, and on your page just in general for building up that really a special digital presence, because then you can reach back out to those people. You have now contact information for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, this pretty much wraps it up. There's so many things to measure success, and the point behind it is to be able to throw more events or to better your events. You're learning from what your customers like, don't like, and it's only going to help you improve. So if we don't have anything else on this,
creativity is key.
Yes, absolutely. Have fun with it, honestly. Have a lot of fun with this stuff, but, don't go too overboard. Again, you got to consider your budget, your demographic that you're inviting there.
And take your goal and work backwards.
Yeah,
honestly,
exactly.
That's really the best way that Claudia and I both work that way. What are we trying to get out of this? You pick the end goal and work your way backwards. And then the creativity aspect just kind of comes with it.
Yep, absolutely. So now I'm going to open it up for questions. I know that most of you have seen that little question box there, and I appreciate you guys letting me know that you can see my screen. Sometimes we don't realize it because we're seeing the screen right in front of us. So please feel free to type in questions. I know we had a lot of information to go over. I hope you all got something out of it. If you don't have questions at this moment, but think of them later on, which I always tend to do, I'm like, oh man, I wish I asked that, and it's 2 days later. You can email us. I'm going to show you our contact information shortly, and I'm also going to be sending out that recording tomorrow to all of you, so you can also reply to that email with anything that you need. So we'll leave this open for another minute or so. And if any of you joined late, you'll get the entire recording tomorrow, so you can review anything that you missed. All right. Well, it looks like you guys are a little quiet today, and that's totally fine. Maybe we just did a really good job. I'll go with that. All right, so again, recording will be sent out tomorrow. If you need anything or think of any questions in the meantime, you can email us, marketing@worktrucksolutions.com, or you can reach out to Dottie or myself. I can actually put our contact information right here. I will put it in the chat box. Give me 1 second.
I can cipher that one.
I know, I forgot. So that's Dottie's email, and then I'll put in my own as well. All right, so now you guys have that. It's down in the little chat box down there. Thank you all so much for your time today. I know that we kind of took a little bit longer than normal, but we had a lot of good information to go over. Dottie, thank you so much for being here. We will see you next month, and if you guys have any ideas for topics or any feedback for us, on the presentation, please send it our way. We completely appreciate it, and have a wonderful rest of your week. Oh, we might have gotten a question. 1 second. Oh, you are so welcome, you guys. Thank you so much for participating. We'll see you next time. Have a wonderful week.